everybody.
Oh!
Nut button returns.
It has returned.
Oh my god! How long has it
It's
been?
been so long.
What's the Titanic? It's been 72 years.
So long.
Right. Oh my goodness!
I cleaned out the closet. I found it.
Yay! Welcome
You
back
found your
to
nuts after you chopped your dog's nuts off.
right. That's actually
Yes.
that's ironic. That's ironic.
There's some irony here.
Mm-hmm.
Felt something was missing. Had to go find it.
Welcome back, everyone, to Dungeons Mad Mage. It is episode 163. And we're gonna go ahead and kick things off with a little bit of a recap, shall we? Previously, in the dungeon of the Mad Mage and within the Frethian stronghold of Spiderwatch Keep, the party found themselves sparring against the leaders of House Spreth, Erelal, the Great Mother, and Driven, her Archmage brother, along with one of their most powerful subordinates, Zeran Adaragon, the Dark Dancer. The two groups had chosen to engage each other in a contest of might in order to prove what each side had to offer, aside from its various allies and information. And a test it was for both sides. While Vikadara and Balrin, the two additional combatants on the side of House Spreth, bowed out early in the fight, the party, Driven and Zeran, were all incredibly obstinate. As it became obvious on both sides that people would no longer be surrendering, Erelal became exasperated, and the intractable Great Mother slowly focused people down.
Rude.
Unfortunately for the Frethians, the party could, and did, do the exact same thing themselves. And so it was that Ezrah, Ashes, and Driven were eventually knocked unconscious. During the course of the fight, as Zeran was forced to be more defensive, the Great Mother became more and more of a target, and the party got the opportunity to see just how capable the leader of House Spreth was. Erelal was a fearsome foe, incredibly resilient, strong, a deadly fighter with her glaive, and quite capable of wielding potent magics. As the fight dragged on, it became all Matashtai could do to remain standing. The monk, realizing he had but moments left before he too was knocked unconscious, asked Erelal if she would accept a draw. The matriarch said that she could yet continue. Matashtai attacked, trying to add what he could to the work that Bones had already been focused on, and Erelal, after weathering the assault, surrendered. In the immediate aftermath, the only combatant that hadn't been injured was Mossy, but as the various fighters around the room caught their breath, Erelal shone with power, fully healing everyone in the room. The Great Mother might have surrendered, but it was evident that if this had been a fight to the death, then she had been honest. She could yet continue. Still, the Frethians seemed satisfied. Erelal spoke to the party, and it became clear that this test was designed somewhat as a benchmark. If the party couldn't even challenge the rulers of House Spreth, how could they hope to challenge the rulers of House Avrendar? The party might not have delivered a crushing defeat to Erelal, but they had at least challenged her enough that the matriarch seemed hopeful of their chances against Vlonwelv. But now matters turned to a different subject. The party had proven themselves potentially good allies, and it seemed House Spreth had enough power and information to assist the party against House Avrendar. But a battle was a lot of moving parts and pieces. It would take time to put together, to set in motion. Time Erelal's daughter, Dirzana Freth, might not have. So the conversation turned back to the thought of rescuing her, and the party agreed to assist their new allies as a show of faith. They would need to rest while the Frethians acquired information on Dirzana's exact whereabouts. They were escorted to Driven Freth's quarters, or rather Spartan study, and began preparations to rest. Before that happened, though, Ezrah was called away to a private conversation with Rilna Freth. The captain of Spiderwatch Keep was not as enthusiastic or won over by the party, it seemed. But she wasn't hostile towards the sorcerer. Ezrah appealed to her obvious familial bonds and declared the party's intention to rescue Dirzana Freth, prompting Rilna to share what she could in order to assist. Meanwhile, Matashtai and Valina spoke about the ever-growing stakes the party faced. Valina expressed some concern to Matashtai that it didn't seem as if things would stop escalating. Even with the eventual concept of success here, Matashtai succeeding in Undermountain just meant he'd return home as a champion of his people, to yet more conflict. As the party once again found themselves together, Ashes noticed a smell lingering in the chamber. A smell he was very familiar with. The smell of Borden Brooks, the man responsible for setting Ashes on the path that he was on, the man who shared with Ashes the gift of lycanthropy. And that is where we fade back into the scene. So, let me snag the right track here. And drag and drop you guys on to level 12.
Drag and
next level.
drop.
Right. Sounds like a super move.
No, not that one. This one.
Like I'm envisioning a monk
Right,
dragonborn
so,
with the grappler feet.
You all...
Like an axe kick. Chicken drop.
Hello?
Dragon
Oh,
drop.
I can't hear anybody. My headset died in a momento. Or it didn't die, it just turned off.
Or he's ignoring us.
Now the question is, do I have to dance to make it actually... Nope, it connected. It's been doing this
That's
thing here lately.
disappointing.
You wanted to see me dance? I didn't mean
Wow.
actually dance. I meant do a dance to make it work. I was a little
Do a dance.
suspicious. About halfway through that recap, the music just cut out for me entirely, and I was like, that's strange. And then I didn't hear any comments here or there, and I was like, that's really strange. But I can't
What?
see
We
you
don't-
guys
we
when I
don't
have the
see
thing
the
up.
commentary.
Drag and drop being a special move in a fighting game.
Right. Look,
Yeah, you just ignored them, and I was like, "Wow, he's stone cold tonight."
Yeah,
Look,
it's like, God,
I
tough crowd.
just didn't hear anything. Sorry. Oh, okay. So, you guys are in Driven Breath's study. You've been provided with a meal and basically like bedrolls and blankets and a few kind of like plushier pillows. Relatively comfortable amenities, considering there's no beds or anything like that in here, right? And you are given your privacy. But it is right, like, it's very late in the day, midnight or later, basically, when Ezrah returns and Matashtai has had this conversation with Valina, and then Ashes, after his workout with Mossy, Ashes has this kind of like moment where he's kind of like cleaning up, and he gets this whiff of Borden. You guys want to do anything from here, or is it bed down for the night, go into nightly activities, and then move on?
No, I'm gonna like,
Mhm.
I'm like you know, like a drug dog, you know, like gets a.
Does your tail go up?
I'm like, I'm gonna try to suss it out. Is it like a centralized location, or is it just a general musk?
So you've detected the scent. You did that last session with a perception check. I would say probably from here it's an investigation check, unless you have a special ability that is specifically designed around like sniffing things out.
Keen
I
smell.
mean, like,
Well, so the keen smell is the advantage on perception, which he
Yeah.
already succeeded on last time, right?
Gotcha.
So now this is more trying to like figure things out about the smell that he has discovered.
I do not have anything as far
So
as
yeah, just investigation check.
Investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I got it's 23.
Which he has a
pretty good.
+9 because of his freaking ass intelligence modifier. Okay, yeah,
Must
Sure.
be nice.
fair enough. I mean, you're a smart boy too. Get out of here. All right, 23. Yeah. I mean, so all of you see, right, like this momentary, like this situation where Ashes kind of like perks up, and his eyes kind of go wide, and his nostrils flare out, and he kind of like hunches, and he begins to kind of like root around the room, sniffing. And there's not really a lot of like objects in here. There's the lectern, there's a couple of like bookshelves, there's a desk to kind of like sit at, and then there's the draperies. Ashes, you find the draperies kind of like the scent clings to them the most because they're fabric and they're, you know, up in the ceiling, kind of like dampening sound, so they're not really probably cleaned as frequently as other things are necessarily. With a 23, you absolutely, you without a doubt confirm this to be the scent of Borden Brooks. And I guess let me check this real quick, because this could be useful information. It can't be more than 4 or 5 days old.
I'll look up. Borden was here. Have to bring this up to the drow tomorrow, if they have any information on it. But he was here.
Yesterday?
I'm sorry, Jeremy. How long did you say?
Probably 4 or
days?
5 days, right? Like
Yeah.
definitely not here yesterday. The smell is old, right? Like it's starting to fade. But it's a powerful, that scent, that lycanthropic stench is a powerful, almost like marking things, right? It's a powerful enough scent, especially when it's intentionally left behind, right? Like you and Borden, right? Most members of the Order of Sharp Teeth, right? Don't have to be stinky or leave a scent trail behind. Right? Two things that have especially powerful senses of smell. They'll probably be able to catch you after a couple of hours. A day or more, though, is going to be difficult. Smelling him several days after the fact almost feels intentional.
Damn, he wants you to sniff him.
I'll turn to Ezra and be like, it was about half a week ago. At the latest.
Isn't it a week 10 days in this world?
Yeah, 4 or 5 days.
Damn, bro.
Weird that we caught up. But
I don't think we've caught up. I mean, he's constantly been ahead of us by a while, but this is the first time that...
I mean, for, less than a week ahead of us with all the stuff we've been doing. Feels like we caught up a little bit here, but yeah, this is not urgent if it's been that long.
Also, this feels a little deliberate. I'm not sure if it was for certain, but...
Did he pee in the corner?
Oh yeah,
Again,
he hiked.
Again, the
You're
scent...
muted, Mitch.
Is it? Can you sniff it in the shape of his name?
It's definitely not in the shape of his name. But I mean, urine is one of the strongest markers, right? It's not like in the corner though. Again, you smell it most strongly in the draperies up above, right? Which are kind of like there as
That's
like
a lot of force to get the urine up
as
there.
kind of like sound dampeners, right? Yeah, it's a little strange of a location. Okay. There's that. Assuming that Ashes doesn't want to do anything else involving that situation.
I don't think this adds any urgency to anything. It's just what
It's
it
just
is.
just information. Yeah, it's just a situation. So,
Okay.
with that being said, unless there is something else that anyone wants to discuss, as like if the party hasn't really chatted about plans or thoughts or ideas recently, so you guys are free to do that. Or if anyone has a moment or something that they want to do, we can transition into that, or we can just move into downtime, nighttime activities.
Ezra would relay some of the key components of his conversation with Rilna in regards to the type of person that her niece is and what we can expect.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think as Ezra is kind of like mentioning this stuff, Bones, you have this kind of like flashback moment because you were the one who did the majority of the conversation, I think, originally with Dirzana Freth.
I did do that, yeah.
On the tail end of the defeat of the Sethian Scourges, right? And you kind of remember this moment where you kind of like offered to assist on Dirzana's return, and she was just kind of like, "Nah, we got this." And it wasn't so much as in like a nonchalant way, and it was more of like a now hearing Ezra say this, right? Hearing Ezra feedback this information from Rilna, it feels more like Dirzana was like a, maybe I can do something on my way back. Maybe I can get a thing done, right? Which, might be the reason why she got captured.
Trying to prove herself.
Anything else that you guys want to discuss or throw out there or anything like that? Okay. Then I think if that is the case, we can move into downtime activities for the night. Everyone's going to go through a long rest, so go ahead and be doing that whole shenaniganry. But in the meantime, we'll go around the room real quick. Ashes, any alchemy or downtime activities you're wanting to do?
No, sir.
In the night. All right, fantastic. Ezra, any downtime activities or alchemy? any other things that you're wanting to do in the night?
Hold on, I've got 50 bajillion things to do during a long rest.
Fair enough.
All right. What do I want to go with?
Oh shit.
The investigation is a whole lot of no luck, so I feel like I need to give that another go as I parse further into the tome of.
So you're doing investigation again?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I can't think of what his fucking name is. Calabash's tome.
Gotcha.
So yes, I continue my quest for attempting to not fail at investigation.
Okay.
And hey, that's not awful.
Hell yeah, 22. So the DC is a 25, but as we have described previously, right? Like each of your failures
failed 4 times
is decreasing the DC for your next eventual success, right? Because you're noticing little patterns and you're taking notes about things here or there. Okay. You are again going through your notes, you're reading through passages, and you've realized that this tome, right, is something. It's weird, right? It's highly magical. It has literally granted you magic powers. It changes its pages on any given day. You've gone through like 100 pages of it, and then you've gone back through 100 pages of it, and every single page will be different. And then you'll go through it a third time, and then some of the pages will be the same, and then other pages will be different. But you're starting to note certain consistencies in those different things, different patterns. When certain pages show up, other pages are more likely to show up, right? So, as you go through here, just a random thing that you note, right, is that every in, every time you see the letter in, right? You see, whether it's capitalized or lowercase, every time you see an in that comes after the letter A, it has a little curly Q, right? Like a little loop-de-loop thing coming off of the top right side. And then it has a little triangle shape, like a little like devil or imp tail, right? Coming off of the left bottom side. So if it's capitalized, right, in the normal phase of like an in, the left bottom point has a little devil tail, and the top right has a little curly Q, right? And if it's lowercase, then the bottom left leg has the devil tail, and then the right kind of like curve at the top has a little curly Q on it. So that's every in that comes after an A has these markations on them.
And that's a curly Q on the right leg.
Yeah,
Font,
curly Q on the right top. Whether it's just right top side, and then
a devil's triangle.
a little devil tail. Like it has like a little point and then like a little triangle, like an imp's tail or like a devil tail, the classical kind of like devil tail. It has that on the bottom left side.
No, it is made.
Which is, in and of itself, zero context. But it is a pattern, and you are notating all of the patterns you can about this tome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that is it for that. Matashtai. Downtime activities.
Yeah, I was gonna work on a talisman. I sent you a message. If you can take a look to review.
I'm going to the phone. I'm working on reviewing.
PX, dude.
He says, "Yo, bro, do you like my flair tonight?" And the answer is always yes. I do not. I don't know, Mitch. Why are you asking me this question?
I didn't think you remembered that one, but I didn't want to just assume and make it.
Gotcha.
So
I'm gonna go check right now. Secrets happening in the background. Ugh. Wait. What's the
line 13?
line 13? I don't see any fucking lines, my dude. What did what?
Did you go to the wrong spreadsheet?
I don't see your spreadsheet.
Okay.
Oh no. Oh no. Wait. Nope. That is also not your spreadsheet.
I've resent to you.
You've resent me the spreadsheet. Oh god. Oh god. Alright, here we go. Talisman spreadsheet. Yeah. Alright, we've got... Oh, number 13. Oh. That's gonna be a tier up.
Okay.
That's a great one, but that's definitely gonna be a tier up. That's like next tier.
All right, that's fine.
Because you're doing uncommon things. That's definitely like a rare thing.
Okay. Then
That's really cool. Though.
That's 2 tiers up. Come on.
That's a cool one.
Line 13 is definitely 2 tiers.
Then I'm going to make a talisman of minor shielding.
Okay, that's good. Hell yes, my best. Bones. Downtime activities.
I finished my project, one of them.
We still haven't determined what the project is, have we?
No, I know what that one is.
It still needs to be enchanted, right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, we'll chat about it later then.
My rare one is the freaking Liger Zero armor for Wolf.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Jesus.
I got you. What's wrong?
Look, it's cool. It's real cool. All right. Anyways. Okay, so the party spends a little bit of time talking about some of the information that they've discovered. Probably just passing, chatting conversation, as is wont for a party of four fellas that have spent several months together at this point, right?
Who you calling a fella?
Just some guys,
Killing
some
and
guys,
surviving, and I just spent a lot of time watching A Crown of Candy, so I'm gonna take a liberty of pissing and shitting together, right? Because that's a whole that gets brought up a lot in that
I don't think I understand
in that
that.
show. Anyways, I'm really excited for Ravening War. So night passes, you all are able to rest, and special note to Jay, who is our keeper of time. It is a new day!
Dude,
Dawns. So it is now Hammer
The
30th.
29th.
It is the last day.
How do I keep missing nights?
I don't know. Oh, no. I'm sorry. It is the 29th. It is Hammer 29th.
Okay, I was about to say, how am
I was misreading my thing. So it is
We
the
lost a
29th.
day in the portal.
Sometimes that happens, right? Look. Okay. So that is done. And we move onwards now to morning. Not super early morning, because you guys went to sleep pretty fucking late. But it is morning. There is a knock on your door. And a drow individual, when you admit them, enters in and asks again, right? Like, would you like some nourishment, something to break your fast? Are there any special requests when it comes to that type of stuff? Obviously, within reason, they're not like a fine dining gourmet scenario, but they're like, does anyone have a peanut allergy or some shit, right? So.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, assuming there's nothing that anyone is being specific about, the individual comes, asks you guys, speak to them briefly, and then they leave. And a few minutes later, they come back with a spread, and they've got like a little push trolley, right? So they just come back, and it's got various foodstuffs on it. Again, mostly breads and cheeses and funguses and other like small items. A couple of like weird tuber like vegetables that have been like fried or roasted or something along those lines. But yeah.
Sure.
And then there's milk, basically milk and water that are served along with the breakfast, and it's like whole milk. It's like super thick and rich and has kind of like a film on top of it, like they just got it from the cow. It's like
Or spider.
or a spider, I suppose.
Lose
It's
your
not a
mouth
bed and
shut.
breakfast. It's the Underdark. Get out of here. This is fine dining for the Underdark. Do not hate. Anyways.
Is this considered Underdark? Is this part of the...
We're like
so,
on the
this-
threshold.
yeah, technically
I mean, there's been
Undermountain-
Underdark exits along the way.
Yeah, that's the
so-
thing. Technically, Undermountain is talked about as if it is a place separate from the Underdark, but the Underdark just means not the surface world.
Subterranean?
Right? Yeah, it just means subterranean. There are different places in Faerun, and then there are obviously different like worlds that have Underdarks that play by slightly different rules, where like the Underdark is almost a plane unto itself, but that's not the Sword Coast. The Sword Coast is basically just, you go down, 100 feet, you're in the Underdark, So yes, right, like technically Undermountain is Undermountain, but it's also Underdark or Underdark adjacent. Anyways, as your morning gets started, Ezrah. You suddenly feel a pressure in your head, and it hurts a little bit. Just a twinge, not like oh my god, excruciating or anything like that. And then rather suddenly you hear a voice in your mind.
Oh god.
And it says, "Glad you're still alive. Remember, you're still a student. Drop by for some classes. You might learn something. Monthlies on the 30th. Best of luck."
Shit.
He just wants you to stay on top of your education, man.
It just wants you to stay on top of your education.
Wait,
Absolutely.
The monthlies are on the 30th,
Mhm.
and we're on the 29th.
These monthlies were on the 26th or 27th, remember? Because you guys were there for these monthlies.
Yeah, that's why I was real confused about timelines.
He's saying for the
second.
next set of
Next
monthlies.
month.
These
Okay, I got-
monthlies happened
I got
early
nervous.
because of
gotta be back tomorrow.
because of midwinter, right? So
I mean, I asked my assistant to make a note on the calendar so that I'm, not late for monthlies.
It's there. It's there. I put it on the 30th
Oh god.
of Hammer.
You might want to put a note 5 days beforehand. Hey, as a heads up, if we want to maintain this,
I
And
could.
I will
I'll
give you
consider
a copy pasta in case you are
Yep,
looking for
appreciate it.
anything or want specifics or anything like that. You
are you
recognize
doing,
this as
Lloyd?
ascending, right? So the headmaster has
Yep.
sent to Ezra
the fiend pretending to be Halaster. Got it.
innocent until proven guilty. You guys proved nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. So it is.
I would respond back, thanks for the reminder. Maybe we'll see you soon.
Just very, very low tone, just like no enthusiasm, just like
Yep.
I suppose, maybe. Wow. All right.
Consider learning from you.
I mean, both Bones and Matashtai were raring for a couple of fights up there, so maybe they'll want to go back and test their mettle.
Could be.
I think
could,
you take
could be.
Halaster.
Could be fun.
At least the
could be
big
fun.
one.
All right.
Could
So
be.
it is early morning. You guys have broken your fast. It seems though as if you are going to be left alone until you decide to kind of reach out. So you guys are, you have your own time, you have your own volition, but you're also kind of stuck in the middle of a fortress. They're allies, but they're allies that you acquired
Tenuous.
10 hours ago.
Allies that aren't going to let us just wander around.
Yeah. So, what do you guys want to do? Or are you just going to go seek an audience and try to get the show on the road?
All right, so I just want to be clear. We're trying to go do the little rescue thing right now.
Well, so we've made it clear that we need to get word to the Legion. That is priority number one. And
Why is that priority number one?
Because you made a promise to Ezrah that as soon as you know there is potentially a threat to the Legion, you will let them know immediately. Otherwise, you are no longer a member of the Legion.
It was like a pretty dire
That might be an
conversation.
extreme interpretation
I
of
feel like
feel
it was me
it's
being
pretty
light.
extreme.
I feel like that was me being soft on it based off of the...
Like Bones even put on his serious face.
Yeah, Bones had a serious
Bones did.
face that we all saw for once.
Bones did put
What
on a
about
serious face.
Fine, I'm just not hiding it from him.
Fine, okay. I was going off of what I was told. If that's not priority number one, that's fine.
I think he'd be
what
more
is
mad
priority
if I
number
gave
one?
random drow his sending address.
His sending address? His
That's what I
sending
said.
address.
Yes, that's what I
Each
said.
of you just has a 10-digit code that's your sending address. I'm putting
It's
that.
at
I'm
least
putting that in
20,
magic
Jeremy.
setting.
It's
Absolutely.
at least 20 digits.
20 digits. That's
At least.
too many. You don't
Is it?
need that many digits.
I mean,
Everybody's
there's
got an
millions of
accurate.
people.
That's for-
Come on.
20 digits is for trillions of people.
I'm sure there's
Gotta
other.
be.
We've got aliens here. You gotta
Oh,
think
that's
about
true.
the aliens.
There are aliens.
Wow.
You need a unique sending
Wow.
for every different plane of existence. Okay, that's
Exactly.
there we go. Fair enough. 20
There
it
we go.
is.
On my planet, it's only 10 digits, so.
Oh. Is your planet it's like your planet doesn't use area codes? Fucking shit. Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
Gotta be, you've got to designate your plane of existence, the planet,
Yeah.
then like the continent, and then you.
I
mean,
think
if
when
we
you're
have
I
a-
think when you're dealing with planes of existence, they don't care about a continent. You get it down to a planet and you're good.
Mhm.
Okay.
You get through to the realm and you're good.
Does anybody know what the area code for the elemental plane of water is?
7. Yeah, 7.
That should have. Yeah, I walked into that
Yeah,
one.
you walked into
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
just.
A little bit. There's only apparently 9 area codes for planes of existence.
Yeah.
Does
And they're
every,
all
like,
7.
They're all
Layer of a
7. Every
planet.
plane is 7.
It's a country code.
Okay, all right. Moving on. So
So-
yeah, Ezra
so-
brings this up.
So, I mean, obviously, taking over the mental faculties of a hobgoblin is probably a bad call, but do we have goblin contacts up there? Because obviously they wouldn't give 2 shits if a goblin gets possessed.
No, I'll go tell him myself. Let's do a little rescue mission. I'll go tell him myself. It'll be fine.
So we're gonna save her, and then we're gonna go report back.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else from anybody else? Discussions, ideas, thoughts, concerns? Obviously, you guys are probably about to go into a conversation with House Freth, so there's plenty of time to discuss things and plan things at that point. I'm just making sure there's nothing you guys want to discuss privately beforehand.
No, I feel pretty good about the plan.
Okay, sounds good. You guys reach out, right? One of you pokes your head outside, and you see that the same kind of like drow individual that has been assisting and serving you is standing across the hall, right? And is just kind of like immediately eyes on you, and asks if you need anything. And then when you guys inform that you would like to meet with the rulers of House Freth, they disappear away, and you're asked to wait a moment while things are set in motion. It doesn't take very long. It takes about 10-15 minutes. And then you all are led back to where you were the previous evening. Before we do that, I need everyone to do me a wonderful favor and roll me
Footage.
wisdom checks or wisdom saving
Fuck
throws.
you.
Everyone everyone roll me a wisdom saving throw, and everyone roll me a constitution saving throw.
No,
That also
19.
Oh,
I get
no.
advantage on con.
Boy,
Oh
you
no.
want me to shake this
No,
hand?
no, 19.
Okay, that's
You want me to shake
That's
this
better.
hand? I shaking that hand.
You
Wizard
rolled a
could've been
10,
better.
Jay. You should be happy.
Yeah, I am. That's good.
Do I need to roll something for? Do I need to roll anything for?
It's above
Mossy?
average.
You do not need a roll for Mossy.
Okay.
Okay, we got some wisdom saves. We got. Oh, I gotta cross-reference.
5 wisdom saves.
This is where I have to like reference 2 different
'Cause I was
sheets
rolling
and
with
then take
advantage.
the information from those 2 different sheets and take it to a 3rd sheet.
Take it to the
like-
corner now.
For whiz saves? That's baller.
Interpret this for me. Okay, we've got. Ooh. Ew.
13's for ashes and Matashtai, a 21 for bones, and 4 for Ezra.
Good. Okie dokie. Now that is a that. Goes there. Fantastic.
Is it that?
Then you got a
2015.
Constitution 2019 1615.
Who am I missing a constitution from?
No one. All four of us are here.
16, 15, 20, and
19.
19.
Because he's a phantom or a ghost or whatever. the
Yeah,
hell
I'm a
the
ghost.
thing
Ooh, I'm
is.
a ghost.
Oh.
You are a ghost
Oh.
dwarf.
Oof. I was just
That's right. I'm a ghost
my
dwarf.
my eyes
Yeah.
decided not to see before me. Fantastic. Okay, wonderful. You all have a relatively restful sleep. Except Ezrah. It's not the worst sleep of your life, but you do have a bit of a nightmare. Which isn't
Story of my life.
isn't especially strange, I think, for Ezrah. And also, contextually, probably not that strange either. You have a bit of a nightmare about your sister, and kind of like a confused aftermath of the storm that took your house and your mother and father. It's this weird kind of like, it's the way that dreams don't really make sense and they're just like amalgamations. Like there's a moment where you're in the house and you are as you are now and you're talking to your sister as she was then, and then the storm happens and there's like you're shouting and you're trying to like help and warn, but it's a dream and you don't have any control, and then it's all like whirling and black and electricity, and then the house is gone, but it's not quite gone, right? It's still there. Like your mind is like, the house is still here, it's fine, but all around you is like ruins, right? And then it's you as you were then talking to your sister as she is probably now. It's been a little while since you've seen her, but it hasn't been like years since you've seen her. It's just been like a year or so since you last saw
maybe
her,
a year
right?
and change.
Yeah, so not a super long time. She can't have changed that much. Maybe like a haircut or, a few pounds one way or the other or something like that. So like you have this kind of like tense feeling. Nothing especially bad happens. It just, you wake up a little bit and kind of like a bit of a sweat, and it's uncomfortable, and you're like not, that's never a pleasant scenario. And it's here, right, in this god-forsaken place, or God's forsaken place. So it's like, you have that moment of like, is this a thing, or was it just a nightmare? I just talked with Rilna, right, about family, so probably it was just in my head, it was there, but you don't know, right? So, other than that, though, nothing untowards. You all you go through the motions, your breakfast, you reach out, you set up an arrangement with Erlal and Driven, and then you are brought back into the company of the Great Mother. So we're gonna swap music real quick. And you're all brought into an audience with Erlal Freth. And it's almost like a mirror this time around, but Vikadara is not there, and Balrin's not there. They are both gone, but the others are all there. This time, Zaran Adaragon is visible to you upon entry. He's no longer hiding. And yeah, the reason why he is no longer hiding is because as soon as you all kind of like step in the chamber and immediate pleasantries are exchanged, Zaran looks at you and he says, "All right, well, my plan today is to head to the 10th level of the dungeon and try to track down Dirzana, and if I can, free her and Arachnaphane as well. I would love your assistance. If we understand this is all very sudden. If you're unable to do so, it is what it is. this may very well be a scenario where it is better for me to infiltrate and try to free her on my own. And he says that, as he says that, he kind of like looks over to Erelal, and he kind of winces, right? And she kind of like gives him this shake of her head. And she kind of takes over the conversation. She says, I did some searching in the nights, and I believe I have isolated both Dirzana and Arachnathane's locations. Unfortunately, I believe my daughter to be in the hands of Kareth Korza, Lonwelv's inquisitor. Torturer, really.
I mean,
This
That's
is, on one hand, good, because it means likely that Dirzana will be alive for quite some time. Kareth is very, very good at her job. But on the other hand, it means Dirzana will likely be alive for quite some time, which is not something that I think we relish in this particular moment.
right.
If you are unwilling or unable to assist, Zaran will do his best to infiltrate. And she looks at Zaran and she says, and do what is necessary for my daughter.
Oh, so kill her.
Erelal
I mean,
looks
that's
across,
the thing,
like
right?
she looks across at Bones and she says, preferably not, but if in the moment Zaran determines that he cannot rescue her, then yes, to end her suffering.
That'll be a absolute last case, like last.
Well,
Alright, so
she says,
what-
if you're involved, I'm hoping that it won't be an option at all. That's...
Okay. By the way, if we're supposed to be quiet, is anybody attuned to the cloak of not making noise?
A cloak of not making noise. I love it.
Cloak of not making, no, it's boots of not making noise.
No, we
No, we also have a
cloak.
cloak of not making noise.
Okay,
I don't-
technically, if you read that cloak, I'm pretty sure it says you just can't be like seen.
I think no, it makes it so you don't have disadvantage on stealth as well.
It makes you have advantage on stealth, but it's like supposed to be see stuff.
I mean, it's fine. Like if you're using it, I'm not asking you to
I'm not.
take
I have
it
boots.
off. But like, if nobody's using it,
I don't
Hold
Hold
at
on,
least-
wait, does it get better if I use all of it?
No, you can't stack advantage. That would
Yeah,
be
that'd
really
be
cool
so
though.
cool.
Like if it was a set piece bonus and it gave you, when you had one, it just gave you advantage, and then when you had the other, it gave you like a advantage +2, or advantage and a +2, and then if there was like a third item, it was like advantage and a +5. Like that would be a
No, if
cool
you get all
like
three, it's
stacking
permanent
mechanic,
invisibility.
right? Fuck off.
No.
because
Permanent.
at this point, like I'm
No.
thinking,
Look,
like
I had a realistic, fun stacking mechanical idea, and Mitch is over here just permanent invisibility.
No one can see or hear you
so
ever.
stealthy.
Let's
You
You
break
now
the
live
game.
a
insist
permanent
on
life
this
of
plane.
solitude.
Get out of here.
I mean,
Yeah,
that
I'll
sounds
take the
good.
double invisibility.
Nope, not how that works. So, I do think that is available for someone, unless someone is attuned to that right now.
Yeah, I'm not using it.
I do not have it on my person, so it's not. I don't have it.
I have never had it, so I have no idea where that is.
Then that's claimable. So, as this kind of like discussion is happening, Erelal, right, like, in response to the comment, Erelal will say, if you all are involving yourselves, I'm hopeful that our chances of success are far more likely. That an elite strike force such as yourselves will be able to get near enough to do what is necessary in the moment and get out with my daughter and yourselves alive. That being the key point here. Not, and she looks at Bones specifically, not inflicting damage to House Sovereigndar, though that would be wonderful to do along the way, but to get in and out with my daughter, Arachnathane, and yourselves all intact and not bring the might of House Arvindar down upon you.
I mean, the might's already got its focus on us.
She looks at you and she says,
It's training.
"Did you face Vlonwelv? Have you faced Vlonwelv and her acolyte Zres together? Yesterday's sparring session was a test. If you fight House Avrindar on your own, and they come for you, you will die. We have seen that much in this test. You are strong, and if we can isolate them for you, then perhaps you can achieve victory. But you cannot fight their forces and them."
Yeah, I believe that. All right, so do we know what part of the level Torture Woman hangs out at?
Absolutely. So it's at this point, right? Errolal will she'll wave over Driven, and Driven will kind of like move. He'll just like whisk his hand, and you see like a little end table kind of like float across the room, and then he whisks his other hand, and a scroll pops out of his belt and unfurls across the table. And he shows to you. I lied.
He shows us nothing. Liar.
No, it's there. I just didn't put it in the right place. It's at the top of my list. Sorry.
Oh, Jeremy.
So when you make a handout in Roll20, it just makes a handout at the very top of your list, right? And I've got 50,000 tabs in Dungeon the Mad Mage Roll20, so I've got to like pull it down from the top and stick it in the right tab. I just left it there. This is a combination of what they know specifically about level 10 and what Errolal scried. Okay, so I've just showed that to everyone. You should now have let me actually edit this. Yeah, all players should have access to it now. Driven unfurls this map in front of you, and he starts to point out, right? And he points to this little snake tail that's next to a river, right? And he says, "This is where the tunnel leads down to the 11th level. We're on the 12th, right? So this tunnel leads down to the 11th level. This big staircase is the front entry into Obsidia, into Mural's Gauntlet. Beyond that fountain area that you see, that is House Avrindar proper. That is where Vlonwev has her throne. And Ezrah, you recognize the kind of like layout of the area. That's the place that you stepped into, right?
Is it?
That's the throne room.
So there's a little throne
Jesus.
down below that fountain
Yeah.
that you can see on the map. You stepped out to the right of that throne, and then everything exploded, right?
Oh, hey,
So there's a fucking
I
gate
recognize that.
right to the right of her throne. Okay? And so
That's
they
great.
can kind of like they tell you, right, that they're vaguely aware of the areas beyond here, right? Of to the east and to the south, right? To the east is more of the basic quarters of House Avrindar, etc., etc. To the south is a more private area where Vlonwev is apparently like creating a new temple to Lolth, right? That staircase area is heavily fortified. That's the place that they were talking about, like, you're not walking in there. If you go there, it's a fight. Hands down, period. No questions asked. That place is heavily fortified, crawling with House Avrindar soldiers. There's no way in or out of it, right? Those two rooms to the east that you have uncovered, those are the places where Errolal was able to scry and find Dear Zanafreth and Arachnophane, which is the companion that didn't make it through, right? So those two individuals are in those rooms. Apparently, and Erelal will explain that she knows Dirzana is being held by Kareth Ikorza, the Inquisitor of Vlanwev, because she saw her there while she was scrying, right? So she knows that's going on. And she says it like through gritted teeth, because it's obvious. All of you are trained in insight, right? It's obvious she witnessed while she was scrying. She witnessed her daughter being tortured by this Inquisitor, right?
Damn it. That's, right.
So she's not thrilled about that whole situation. So
Sure.
at this point, right, Erelal kind of turns things over to Zoran, because Zoran has actually infiltrated House Avrendar and can give you a little bit more of a description and concept of where their forces are allocated, right? So above this kind of like this section that has been revealed, that's all, or at least a good part of it, is Mural, the Misshapen's territory. House Avrendar does not have control of that space. And specifically, Zoran will tell you that staircase at the north part of that little ridge that goes up into darkness, right? That goes into the temple proper complex of Obsidia, where all of the Drow Pantheon have statues and they were worshipped once upon a time, etc., etc. House Avrendar has that shit blocked off, because that is Mural Central, right? Like, that is his domain, and he goes fucking crazy over anything going into his domain. And as Zoran kind of like describes it, you guys, when you can kind of cross-reference your map, right? The maze level map. When you guys, the Mural's Gauntlet map. When you guys were going through things, you were skirting the northern kind of like outer edge of Mural's domain, right? Zoran, so this is where they start to talk about, like, how do you get where you're going? Erelal seems relatively familiar with the gates. Around here, the gates on her floor, right? And she will tell you, and Zoran can confirm, that just to the north of that staircase in the Temple of Obsidia complex, there is a gate down in the mists that leads directly into that. So if you took that gate, you would be in the temple complex, and you would need to travel eastward through the temple complex to get to these revealed rooms where Dirzana and Arachnathane are, right? But that would mean traveling through Mural's territory and potentially running into the Misshapen one himself. The alternative is going back the way that you have come, right? And taking that portal to the necromancers, to the Agast the Stitcher's chambers, right? From the 6th floor. So you could take that out of the Heart of the Mountain chamber and go right there. You're still going to be in Mural's territory, and you might run into him, but you're at least on the outskirts at that point. Or alternatively, you find your way back to Dwemerkor, and you go down from Dwemerkor, and then you go south from there. Again, on the outskirts of Mural's territory, but at least not in the heart of his domain.
Sure. Yeah. So you think if we go south from the strength wall, we can get there?
Zoran thinks, yeah. So Zoran hasn't explored all of the northern area, the space that you guys have gone through, but he has experienced some of the walls, and he lets you know they're not all strength walls. Some of them are other things that you have to kind of like pass these tests of robustness or being fleet of foot or things like that to kind of like get through these challenged walls, these enchanted walls. He will let you know, or Driven will actually pipe up while he's looking at Ezra, because Driven's got these kind of like eyes on Ezra this entire fucking conversation. Not like staring him down, but like quite frequently when you look over, he's like he's gauging Ezra's reactions to things. And he'll say kind of like offhanded, like they can always be dispelled if need be, at least temporarily, not permanently.
That's good advice.
Just shrugs. And he doesn't do it in like a disrespectful way. He does it in kind of like a like two colleagues conversing kind of way, right?
I mean, we already tested our mettle against each other.
Yeah.
So
that whole situation is kind of like up in the air right now. And House Breath seems to be deferring to you in this situation. When it was just going to be Zaran going, it was a stealth mission. He was going to just infiltrate House Avrendar and try his luck, right? But with you guys going, it's like a strike force, right? So Zaran's plan is to try to get you to the edges of Avrendar territory as close as possible to this location without being discovered. That way, as soon as any fighting starts, it can be as minimal and brief and fast as possible. Grab and get the fuck out, right? Because the longer that you're there, the better there is a chance of someone getting away or some sort of alarm being set out or something like that, right?
Okay, so like, what's the plan? We grab him, we run into Muriel's territory and take the portal to 6?
I think Zaran will say, well, I think once we're leaving, any way out is an acceptable way out. I don't think House Avrendar will chase us into Muriel's gauntlet for very long. Even Vlonwelv and her strongest have yet to challenge the Misshapen One openly. They probably will eventually if given enough time. And Erelal will kind of pipe in at this point, and she says, we believe Vlonwelv's plan is to consecrate a new temple to Loth, thereby empowering her goddess in Obsidia, and then use that newfound strength to challenge Muriel for the temple complex itself. And I think actually at this point Zaran will kind of pipe up and he says, yeah, so there was a massive statue in Obsidia of Lolth herself. And when Vonwelv and House Avrendar arrived and tried to take control of the level, they had initial success. Muriel was lethargic, less present, perhaps. But the more they pressed upon his territory and dominion, the more engaged he became. And so he has beaten them back. There was a point at which that Vonwev had consecrated this statue within Obsidia to Lolth yet again, but whatever she was attempting to do, it wasn't completed. It was halted. So she's lost that portion of her plan and now had to start up a new concept there with which to challenge Muriel with. And Zaran kind of like pipes up and says, that's a whole lot of extra information. This is stuff that we can discuss when we get down to the brass tacks of war. But for now, I think it's important to just know that Vlonwelv and the majority of her entourage and her lieutenants are in Avrendar area proper. Where we're going is already on the outskirts. If we can just get in there, get Dirzana, and get out, I believe we will be able to get out without that much of a pursuit. The issue being, though, is if there is a pursuit, that in and of itself is a danger depending on where we take it. And even if there isn't a pursuit, if we take too much of a beating on our attempt of obtaining Dirzana, if we head into Muriel's gauntlet and then face the misshapen one himself, we might just all die then.
Sure, yeah.
That's great.
And I think at that point, Erlal pipes up and she says, I think it's best that if you find the misshapen one, you flee his domain. You do what you can to halt his forward progress, and you flee his domain without fighting him.
So, to the death. No. Out of character.
Is it out of character? Because I'm pretty sure that's
I'm
Pretty in character.
That seems pretty in character for Ashes to tongue-in-cheek make that joke, considering what happened last night.
All right, sure.
All right, sure, I say it for real.
Fine, I said it.
And Erlal like gives you this, all of you, this look of like, don't throw your lives away for my daughter. That's the entire thing that we're trying to avoid right now. I am positive we could save her life and Arachnophane's life by mobilizing a large portion of our forces. But in doing so, we would lose a lot of people. We would lose people on the march. We would lose people to martyrs last standing to try to save their allies as the reprisal came. The whole point of sending you all and or Arachnophane or Zoran is so that it is a small, highly mobile force that can get in and out without any of these last stand shenanigans. There will be a time for us to fight and defeat House Avrandar. There will be a time for us to send the misshapen one to his grave. We're not intending that to be this point in time.
Okay.
She looks. There's an exchange of looks between Driven and Erlal, and like they realize like they have no control over you all, right? And it's almost as if like they were gonna send Zoran, right? But you guys have kind of like jumped into the situation. They could just send you. They don't have to send Zoran now. They're sending Zoran and you as a, if these guys decide to get into a fight and stay in a fight, Zoran's going to get my daughter out of there, right? Not like abandon you, mind you, right? But like do the mission, right?
Do the mission.
I like that. That's good.
He's the one standing next to the extraction point.
APX with no balls.
It's such a greeting.
I saw it, buddy. I saw it.
Oh goodness. Okay, so
He's
again,
like, fuck you.
this
Fuck yeah,
isn't.
you.
By the way,
you.
I'm feeding you guys all this information as Erlal and Zoran and Driven. You guys are free to suggest things or come up with ideas or change plans entirely, right? If you guys have alternatives, they're just telling you what they think is up. So,
I mean, I'm cool with it. Like,
well, I think like they're pretty much asking us in what method do we wish to approach, if I'm reading the room correctly.
They're pretty much like, hey, we've laid this out. What do you want to do now? We're ready to go whenever you're ready to go. So in point of fact, Zoran will look at you and kind of shrug, and look down at himself, and he has like this little cape on right now. He's got like a little satchel on his side, a little small pouch on the other side, and he looks at you and he just shrugs like he's ready to walk out the fucking door right now.
Ready to roll out.
How
Yeah.
are you getting up there?
Oh,
What's you
wow.
ready to walk out the door?
Well, that depends on what we decide, or what you decide. We're not going to force you into anything, but most likely we're leaving by one of the two gates here, because traveling through the 11th floor with the intention of walking through the front door into the 10th is suicide. So the only way to get behind their lines is to take a gate.
Then it's which gate?
Yeah, it's which gate. Do we take the gate into Muriel's Gauntlet, which may be closer, we're not sure, but it's in the heart of his territory? Or do we go back to your home? Do we go there, and we either go through the gate that you went through, or we go to the 9th level and go down from there?
So we risk running into Muriel, but it is the more direct.
You risk running into Muriel any direction that you go. Any of these locations, you have you are in his domain. But the going back to the lost level and going through the portal that you guys went into, or going to the 9th level, that's on the outskirts of his domain. That original like path that you guys took is the outskirts of his territory. So it's a less chance of running into him there. If you go, you take the other portal, you're going into the heart of his domain. Could be faster, higher chance of meeting him.
Risk it for the biscuit.
I mean, I'm cool
Risk
with going
or
back to
bisque.
sleep and taking the other portal back down. That's fine with me.
That's the other thing is it's multiple portals. If you're taking this portal, so that's the trade-off, right? Like it's not just might be faster, it's one portal and she can bless you for that portal versus she'll bless you for the portal back to 6, and once you go to 6, you're getting there slower and you're not blessed. So that's the real trade-off basically.
Different risks.
Wait, so hold on. What's the portal from here to there?
So that
the one-time portal?
that map called Aralal's Scrying, that new map,
I see.
to that little staircase that leads
there's
north.
a portal in the old god area.
Just to the north of that, there is a portal in that temple complex, which is the heart of Muriel's territory. So that is the one portal scenario. So she can bless you for that portal, or she can bless you to send you back to the 6th. But once you're back at the 6th, you gotta make decisions yourself. Now, technically, you could still make the trip to the 6th be a single portal. You could just go to the 6th level and then walk from the 6th to the 7th to the 8th to the 9th. That's just gonna take a while, right? But it is an option.
It'll take a long time. That's going to be like a session or two. Maybe. as long as nothing happens. And
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it depends on what shenanigans you guys get involved in.
Us getting into shenanigans? Unheard of.
Shenanigans!
We have never done that ever.
Not
Never.
once.
Never have you, never will you.
Exactly.
I just get the feeling
He gets a
that
feeling.
warping right into Muriel's territory may not be the best idea.
So, yeah. I mean, probably not.
Zoran will look at you, and specifically he'll look at Ashes, and he'll be like, I'm not sure it is a great idea if you can't be stealthy. Now, if everyone can be stealthy, then, I mean, I'm not worried about me.
Bones, let me borrow the cloak. I'll give it back after we're done.
I don't have the cloak.
Who
Well,
has clothes?
in this
Just
moment, we're
put
just
the
going to
cloak
say
in your
Bones,
bag for now.
Bones has the
Someone
cloak.
has it. They gave it to you.
Pulls it out of his
Okay.
bag, throws it to
I'll
Ashes.
pull it out. Here's the cloak. Sure, Matt. Ashes. Here, stuff it in between them armor plates.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I'll throw it on, and I'll start the process of unattuning to the crossbow of no magical blinding, and attuning to the cloak of not making noise.
Don't you mean the taking off your freaking
He is never
armor?
removing the
so that you just
armor.
have advantage on your stealth checks?
No, it is encrusted in his skin at this point.
It probably
Like-
is.
Dude, I would
It's
absolutely
fused
take
with
that
his
armor
fur.
off.
Like
Mhm.
when he drops werewolf form, it only drops the werewolf form on the exposed part of his body. All the rest of it, the fur is just like attached.
It smells great under there.
That's a word for it.
I mean,
While
don't
you
we
guys
have,
are-
don't one of the goblins have? No, never mind. That's actual plate armor. I mean, we got some extra studded leather somewhere you could put on.
And give up his ability to not be crit. Get out of here.
It is an ask. I do.
It is
do
a big,
understand
big
that.
ass.
Am I proficient?
Pretty sure-
What is?
Like, you can literally put it back on when we're done stealthing.
Can you?
Assuming he has the 5 minutes.
Assuming you have the time, yeah.
I
to
mean,
don the armor.
yes, there is a chance we immediately are stealthing and are in combat.
Very true.
And I will give you 500 gold for every crit you take because of that.
Ooh, making money. That's
Yeah,
funny.
you would be making
I
money.
like it. While
Well,
this discussion is
it's
happening,
not just the crits. It's
And
that
this-
studded leather is going to drop my AC significantly.
And this is the session Jeremy would roll all crits.
that's but absolutely it is. Which would be funny because I would both kill Ashes, and then Matashtai would have to
And then
pay
I'd be
his
broke.
gold to his corpse, right?
To his
Just
corpse.
throw
As
it into the
dead-ass body.
absolutely.
We'd have to use the
Oh.
Raise Dead scroll, which is
Yeah.
an expensive resource.
Right.
And
Do we have a
Matt-
spare set of studded?
I don't
I mean,
think so.
you could ask the elves if they've got, like...
Is
So
it
what do
a
you wear,
faux
half-plate?
pas calling
They-
a drow an elf?
Not these drow necessarily. They well, I mean, it might still be a faux pas, but they wouldn't call you on it necessarily, I think.
Okay.
Because these drow do actually consider themselves to be elves. I mean, most drow do consider themselves to be elves. They just consider themselves to be the true elves. Whereas
Well, it sounds like they shouldn't care if we call them elves.
House Freth, except the word that most drow use for themselves would be would be an elven word,
Okay,
but you get my
well,
point.
let me ask you this, Jeremy.
Shoot.
Okay, so the reason why Ashes has disadvantage on stealth is because he makes noise.
Partially. The reason, so it's a twofold scenario. In theory, heavy armors, it's not just that they make noise, they also limit the individual's mobility to the point to where they cannot
Kicking
move
rocks,
appropriate,
like-
not kicking rocks, but like a stealthy person might be able to like move in a stealthy manner, like hunch down, but a person in full armor is like right, like
And the
Yeah,
light
big fight in
glistens
that.
off of them, and
so it's a combination of both noise and mobility.
Okay, what are you, Ashes? Are you medium armor?
Whatever half plate is.
medium.
That's heavy.
Half plate is medium.
Is it?
Half plate is medium. JK. That's only 15 plus 2, and it's not a plus 1, it's just adamantium.
No, it's just straight. It's just straight. He just really don't want to be crit.
And I don't think it's happened in a long time.
No, actually, it happens. It happens like once every other fight where I'm like, I can't crit you. I can't crit
It's,
you.
it's like once every
what's your
3 or
dex
4
mod?
fights.
I'm
Something
sorry,
like that.
Zach.
What is your dex mod?
My dex modifier is
+2?
2.
Hold on, aren't you a Lycan? Don't you have some sort of bullshit natural armor? Is that not a thing? Am I making that up? I
I
might be making
think
that
you're
up.
making that up.
When he's raged, he gets the half damage
Yeah,
to
he
non-silvered
has damage
weapons.
resistance, but I don't think he has like an unarmored skill.
I thought Lycan got some sort of bullshit. I'm a barbarian armor.
I don't think
No,
so.
it's the
they
range
get
mechanic that you're
bullshit.
thinking of.
I take no damage.
All right, well, that sucks, bro.
I mean, I also am not terribly stealthy. Fun fact.
True.
Well, we have 2 stealth items. I guess I could give up mine if I have to.
I mean,
For
you guys also have sources of things like invisibility and stuff like that, right?
Oh yeah, we got a ring. You could use this ring to be invisible. And then you don't have to do the stealth
You guys
part.
are a high-level adventuring party. You absolutely have options to
Yeah, I
do
forgot about
this
that.
if you decide to make use of those options, which is perfectly fine. Going out there, if someone in the party is like, I don't want to compromise X to achieve Y, that's perfectly fine, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with like using whatever resources I have. I mean, so the alternative is, I guess we could go back to 6 and say, hey, give me that armor back for a minute, and then you could put that armor that I used to have on. That's studded +1.
Yeah.
What was your
mean-
dex again? Your dex was 15.
Would it be better for me to
Dex is
just
2.
like not wear armor?
No, that would
Then,
not be better.
rather than wearing a different type of armor, yeah, you could just wear studded leather and get armor and not have any disadvantages.
Okay,
Sorry,
I mean,
did I miss? Did we just say no? We're not going to ask the elves if they have any
yeah, hold
spare
on. If your
half-plate?
dex is 15, hey, do you guys have a breastplate lying around?
Yeah,
Uh,
like
Borrow a breastplate.
The elves will say we have several different types of arms and armor. We can assist you in outfitting if you need to.
boom.
There, if you wear a breastplate, you can be crit and you lose 1 AC.
That works too. And you don't. The important point being you don't have disadvantage on stealth.
Yeah, so then if you wore the cloak, then you would have advantage.
Yes. Yeah. You would go from disadvantage on stealth checks and not being able to be crit with 1 more AC to 1 less AC being able to be
So-
crit and advantage on stealth
If
checks.
they
would
will
be- oh
loan
my
me a breastplate,
Yeah,
I
easy
will.
peasy. In point
I
of fact,
will-
like Rilna will bring you over not one of hers, she's a little more slight than you, but she'll like go through this whole like scenario of sizing you and going to their armory and getting an appropriately fitting breastplate for you. I mean, appropriately fitting, it has different fittings and fasteners to size it
Yep.
for you, but there needs to be one. You got a broad chest. You got a broader chest than she's packing right now, so she
Yeah.
can't quite, just give you a hand-me-down.
Right. All right. Well, I will attune to the cloak and
That's an
don
easy
the
thing taken
breastplate.
care of. Actually, while this kind of discussion of equipment and accoutrements and various different arms and armaments and the plan in general is being discussed, it is at this point that Driven Freth looks over at Ezrah, who casts greater invisibility and disappears.
Ezra's
Okay.
gone.
All right. While there's a lull in conversation, I would ask, like, not anybody in particular, just kind of like the room.
Go ahead.
The room. Did another blood hunter come through here a few days ago?
Sorry, Jake. We'll get back to your thing.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just figuring out what the fuck just happened.
That didn't happen. I was just calling out that you walked away, and he has something to say to you. So, Ashes, you broach this subject, and Errol, everyone in the room is like, yeah, kind of like nods, like, yeah, that was a thing. Errol looks at you, and she says, he was very careful in not giving specifics, but in conversations with him, he would occasionally mention a protege, perhaps?
Oh, Daddy remembers you.
Yeah,
He stayed with us for several days. He had actually stayed with House Ovrendar for several days, and upon entering into our territory, did us the favor of sharing much of the information we have already just shared with you, actually.
Did he say where he was going?
Not to me specifically. We only spoke a handful of times. Rilna spent more time with him, debriefing him on the various bits and pieces of his knowledge. I also believe Zaftal and Laxdoral perhaps spent some time with him as well.
Right. Cool.
Zaftal is my son, my third son. Laxdoral is a cousin. If you wish to
I don't
speak
have
with them,
either
you're
of
more than welcome to.
They may need to be tested.
They may need to be tested. Nice. Gotcha.
All right, sorry. What were those names? One more time.
Zaftal.
Oh.
I'll give you copies.
Yeah.
Zaftal and Laxdoral.
I'm sure Jay definitely used an X there.
I did not. Well, I did use an X. I did not use an H, and that's on me.
Yeah, you should know by now.
Yeah, that's on me. That's on me.
I didn't make this name up. This is out of the fucking book. Don't you at me?
It is what it is. We fully believe that you poisoned them.
I went to Wizards of the Coast and I was like, y'all need to add more H's. Please and thank you. It wasn't me. It wasn't me that got it from them. It's them that got it from me. That's how that worked.
Jeremy, I forgot to mention during a long rest, I did shift some of my abilities.
Ooh. Care to share, or is it a secret?
No, I'll share. So I shifted Tamakiri to the Shield of Adar ability, which, when using a bonus action to patient defense, the monk may also whirl their weapon defensively, granting themselves full cover. While in this state, as a reaction, they can grant the dodge and full cover to a creature within 5 feet of them for a single turn.
So it's basically, he can sit there. Yeah, he
Yeah.
can sit there and he can fall into a defensive stance and basically helicopter spin Tambakiri, right, to give himself cover, and then he can, like, throw it over in front of somebody else. Yeah.
Does that expose him then?
Yeah, it does expose him for it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I then swapped my bracers off of Unbroken Air to bracers of Magic Bound. The monk may add their Wisdom modifier to deflect missiles. Once per round, their
Ooh.
Kuori spirit can attempt to catch a ranged weapon attack or ranged spell attack using the same specifications as deflect missiles.
Going
Does
real
not-
defensive on the rescue
motherfucker.
mission here, I feel.
Motherfucker,
Yeah.
you're stretching into my territory. Get out of here.
Real defensive on
I'm-
the rescue mission.
I'm
I like it.
shifting for if we're running from combat.
Yeah, snatching things out of the air, defending. I like it. Okay. Cool. Very cool. Ooh, exciting. Much excite, much wow. Sweet. Okay. Ashes, did that brief conversation kind of like finish things for you?
Yeah. I think that covers me.
Okay,
I think I'm
cool.
good.
I think at
I'll
that
cover you.
while that is happening, right? Because there's a couple little odd parts and pieces happening, little conversations happening. Driven kind of motions Ezra aside, and he looks at you and he says, "You're a formidable mage, impressive skill, honestly."
You showed me a couple of tricks yourself.
He gives you this kind of like, he smiles. He's not bashful. He's a confident person.
It helps when you're not facing someone that can just shrug off your
Right.
stuff.
And he kind of like looks at you and he says, "You're mostly self-taught, but you're a little strange for a sorcerer."
That's the nicest thing anyone said to me.
When you've been around as long as I've been, you see the different kind of types. Those that kind of just cruise by on what they're born with, and those that work really hard to get where they're at. You're
As
uncommon in between.
as the wizard I trained under called it, my gift, my innate ability is strong. It's my intellect that will get me in trouble.
He laughs like he suddenly laughs out loud, and he draws a look from Errolal, who's like in the middle of talking to Ashes about the whole Bordenbrook scenario, right? And he like looks and he's just like quiets down. And he kind of like, sorry, and he nods at you and he says, "I like it. You're gonna be a problem when you get to whatever your heyday is. And I'd rather you be a problem that's on our side than one that's not. Which means not only assuaging this relationship, but also you not ending up dead in a ditch. You're really good. You have a habit of getting targeted, bringing a little bit of attention to yourself.
I mean, I may have came out swinging in this demo.
And when that happens, you do seem to have some pretty good defensive skills as well, but they put you almost entirely on the defensive when you're doing them. It's gonna be a little rough if you're getting wailed on and you can't do anything else to help your allies. He pulls out a little twig. He says, "This is on loan.
Oh,
I want
shit.
this back after everything is dealt with House Ovrandar."
Oh shit.
And you recognize the piece of wood that he
He's
pulled
giving
out.
me the staff of fuck Matashtai up. I like it.
Is that what we're calling it specifically?
Yeah.
I think it's the user in that situation.
No, it's the staff that does
Oh, fuck.
it. Power.
So
I have the power.
He holds out, and it's 4 inches, right, of wood.
Oh yeah.
Full
4 inches.
He holds it out to you,
On a good day.
and he says, right, like, I get this back when we're done with House Ovrandar.
You have my word.
Says,
I only if it, I don't want to put you out of.
"Oh, I'm good. She's my baby, and I love her, but I'm good." And he hands the staff over to you. And as he does it, because Driven is a powerful archmage, if you so choose, if you have the availability, or even if you do not have the availability but you allow it, he will force his attunement from himself onto you. So you are automatically attuned to the staff of interposing ideals.
That is not giving me an extra attunement.
No, it's not
or
giving
that
you an
is?
extra.
Okay.
It's if you have an empty one, he'll
I do
auto attune you. If you don't, you can disattune to one, and
Yep.
he'll fill the
Already on
slot
it.
automatically.
Sorry, Crack, you are unattuned again.
It be what it be. So, I will give you a copy pasta.
So as that's happening, I'm gonna kind of quietly lean over. So, your sister.
She's hot.
Which one? Are you talking about Erlol? Are you talking about Veronica? Are you talking about Rilna?
Rilna, what's her story?
Youngest of 3 sisters within the bustling city of Minzo Baranzan, in a house looked upon with general distaste and disfavor. Unlikely to inherit much, unlikely to rise to a certain station unless she murders her older sisters and takes command of the household, but as you may have ascertained, we're not quite that household. So she did what any little sister trying to be helpful and useful to her older sisters would do. She got really good with the sword, and she got really disciplined, and she hated every moment of it. I'm not telling you anything that everyone in this place doesn't know, by the way.
No, this is all.
I'm not gonna spill her business,
apparent.
but she is an excellent captain. She is incredibly loyal, incredibly skilled, and does a great job at defending the territories of House Freth, at leading the guard of Spiderwatch Keep. But just by the very nature of the path that she chose in life, she has intentionally set aside ambition. So she is forever the loyal sister of her older sisters. Of her older siblings. Now, I get to ask, why?
Your house impresses me.
Good. It should. I know what you mean when you say that, but it also should.
Mm-hmm. As you are perceptive, have spent most of my adult life behind the book. And what I know of the drow culture is under a certain conception.
Vicious, horrid, backstabbing, an affront to the light. A lot of that's true, but I think a lot of people forget that much like all people, drow culture, drow society is dominated by the few, while the many are just trying to survive. And sure, in Minzo Baranzan especially, although plenty of other places eschew the culture, it is common for even the lower masses to be more cutthroat toward each other. There are certain proclivities that are common within the drow houses, even within our houses. Ambition, a certain tendency towards differing desires. We are not uncommon when it comes to much of those. What we are uncommon in is that our leadership believes in fairness and peace and living. And that is the difference between us and many of the other houses.
That is good to hear. The predisposition that I had when I joined this group and our encounters with House Avrindar on repeated occasion reinforced those understandings. So it is refreshing to see others of what I am more accustomed to.
My sister will preach the gospel of Elistrai and say that the difference between our houses is our worship of hope and its ability to change a person. But I've known followers of Lolth who were just followers because that is what they were raised to be and they were perfectly fine individuals. Forced into a corner, could they show a different light? Absolutely. But I think any of us forced into a corner can show a different light.
That's nature.
He shrugs.
But yes, no. To answer your question, your house is refreshing, and her confidence is endearing.
Kind of squints at you. He says, "That's good to hear," and squints at you. So, anything else for that conversation? He'll give you like a brief rundown of the mechanics of the staff of interposing ideals.
I'll just need the statistics for the staff of fucking up Matashtai.
Yep, absolutely. Copy pasted into the chat. It is a +2 quarterstaff.
Breaks 3 of them.
It's a +2 quarterstaff, and as an action, you can use an activation word. You can set the activation word when you attune to the item. When you use the activation word as an action, the staff will float around you, and it basically acts as a shield. It'll give you a +2 to your AC. It only lasts for 1 minute, or until the activation word is spoken again, and it refreshes on a short rest. While it's floating, this is something else that is slightly different. While it's floating, attacks that are made with it use your spell attack modifier rather than a strength or a dexterity type scenario.
Is there...
Or can use it. They don't have to use it.
Damn, I want this staff now.
It's a
powerful
powerful item.
You've got a fucking cadre of staffs right now. Get out
You
of
do
here.
actually have several
I have
staffs.
1 staff and 1 spear.
You have the Staff of Healing
Cadre.
and the Staff of Etherealness.
I have 2 staves and 1 spear.
There we go. I have 3 sticks, but only one of the sticks has a pointy end.
I would like to combine all 3 sticks into 1 stick.
No,
Just
he doesn't get to do
like
that.
rubber band them together.
Yeah, just wrap those bad bitches up and just twirl that fucking like pipe at people.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there a name to this weapon?
Yeah, sorry. It is the Staff of Interposing Ideals. I'll give you a more copy pasta. Boom. It is, Staff of Interposing Ideals. It is a very rare item that requires attunement.
Yeah, you better agree that, or make sure you don't agree with your enemy, bro.
So
it's true. If you agree with you have to be contrary. If you agree with your enemy, you lose the +2.
Your ass better become Ron DeSantis.
Oh God.
Just hit me. I would rather just take the hits. Get out of here.
I mean, I won't even mage armor for that shit.
Is there an amusement park that I can try to sue?
All right. I think we've been talking about a lot of different things. Some information has been exchanged. Some item has been exchanged. Some differing scenarios are happening. We're gonna go ahead and go to our break. When we get back from break, we will see exactly how the party wants to proceed from this particular point, and we'll pull the trigger on that. So we will see you back in just a few minutes. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.